Hello and welcome, this is Benevolent History here, and I'm here to give you a commentary battle on the grassy flatlands. This is a 4 vs 4, I'm commanding the Scipii Romans, one of my allies, Greek city-states player, is commanding on the very left, and the Brittania player is commanding center right, and the Macedonian player is on the very right. And 4v4s in obviously a very chaotic, you have to take advantage of all the units you have in the battle in order to win. So the Macedonian players on the right is using an army consisting of, I believe, 4 or 5 units of light lancers, 2 units of companion cav, 2 Cretan archers, 6 regular archers, and about 5 units of royal pikemen. The Macedonian player will obviously be using those pikemen to help defend against enemy chariots and enemy cavalry. So the Brittania player is taking about 6 units of barbarian warlords, about 6 units of slingers, 4 units of head hurlers, and surprisingly 2 units of British heavy chariots, the lesser chariots. I'm commanding about 2 units of archer auxilia I positioned out in front, 4 units of urbans, 1 peasant, as you can see there, 6 of regular archers in behind, and 4 units of Praetorian cav, 2 with me and 2 with my ally on my Greek city-states ally on my left. So the Greek city-states player has taken 4 units of Cretan archers up in front, 6 units of armored hoplites, 2 units of regular hoplites, and 4 units of archers. He also taken a cavalry component, light cavalry, about 4 of them Greek cav, obviously just purely used to chase down enemy archers. So at the beginning of the battle, the Britannian player sent out his 2 British heavy chariots to my side to protect me against enemy chariot attacks. So the Macedonian player will push onto the Pontic player, and the Britannia player would therefore support the Macedonian player after that. So you see here, one of our opponents is the Armenian player. He's taken a pretty unorthodox army, mainly heavy infantry, and 4 units of heavy spearmen, 4 units of Armenian legionaries, about 4 units of cataphracts, 5 of archers, 2 of horse archers. Now the Seleucid player has taken mainly side chariots to counter Britannia, most likely. So he's taken about a few units of silver shield pikemen, some militia cav, 1 cataphract, 5 side chariots, 6 archers, and 1 peasant. The Roman player in this case has brought about the same army as I have, except he's taking 1 more urban corps and the cavalry auxilia, while my units are more upgraded than his. Now the Pontic player on the very left, facing Macedon, is using 2 units of side chariots, 2 units of chariot archers, and 3 units of Pontic light cav, the javelin armed skirmishing cav. He has also taken 6 units of archers and 6 units of bronze shield pikemen in order to face Macedon's pikemen. So basically what happened in this battle was 2 attacks by our side. The Macedonians attacked on the right flank, while the Greek city-states player attacked on the left flank. So I'm just going to go over the left flank first. So what happened was the Greek city-state player rushed up his Cretan archers to rain death upon these archers. Cretan archers have longer range, so they could deal a whole lot of damage against those regular archers before the regular archers can do any damage to the Cretans. The Armenian player also makes a huge blunder in allowing the pretty slow hoplite unit to rain death upon to catch one of the horse archers. So the Greek city-states player knows that his infantry is superior to the Armenians, so he sends in his Greek hoplites out to assault the heavy spearmen of Armenia, while his hoplite units on the left flank protect his own hoplites from being attacked, and my cavalry on the right flank protect his hoplites from being attacked as well. So the Armenian player makes a few assaults with his cataphract units. However, he does so in a very disorganized fashion, which allows the Greek city-states player and I to isolate 1 cataphract at a time and destroy the cataphracts. It doesn't help that the cataphracts were really unupgraded. The Armenian player should have relied more on these cataphracts and less on heavy infantry. So you see that he does manage to send up 2 Armenian cataphracts on the left to devastate one of the hoplites here, but it's too late. Most of the Armenian infantry are routing anyway. So that in a matter of seconds, the Armenian player has been totally devastated, and basically we won that engagement on the left, and the Greek cav are just gonna run down all of the remaining units. So what was happening all the while when the Greeks and the Romans were defeating the Armenians? Well, the Macedonian and the Pontic player have a little chariot archer war, but the Pontic player moves his side chariots a little bit too close and they get flamed a bit, but not too much. They were able to escape pretty much unscathed. In the meantime, the Seleucid player shifted his forces to the left in order to aggressively push out the Brittanian player and separate all armies in the middle. I made a little blunder here in that I should have moved up my urban cards to counter the movement of the Seleucids. In the meantime, the Brittanian player makes an assault on the Julii general, and he does a tremendous amount of damage on that one unit. However, the Brittanian player does not accomplish as much as he should have, because the Pontic player wisely sends his pikemen out to confront the Brittania chariots. He also sends up his side chariot to do a little bit of damage, although that wasn't too necessary. So at this point, the Brittanian player retreats all his chariots, although some of them do get caught by the Pontic pikemen there. A few of them die. Not a really good exchange for the Brittanian player, so we kind of lost that one. And you see here that the Roman is basically stacking up his cav in order to prevent the chariots from killing his cav. That stacking of cavalry units, that's what people refer to as a cat box, to take advantage of the fact that chariots really suck in a prolonged melee. And the Macedonian player sent a few light lancers in quite prematurely, and a lot of these light lancers died. Whenever you use light cav, you should never really charge a huge body of archers at once. Only charge isolated units on the flank. So you see here that the Brittanian player is making an assault on the Roman player, and the Brittanian player is making a huge mistake in that he's allowing his chariots to get into a prolonged melee in this huge giant Roman mass. And the Macedonian player does send in some companion cav and royal pikemen in for support, but it's already too late. All the British chariots are basically now dead. Chariots do very well in killing isolated units, but in a huge mass like this, the chariots will just totally be slaughtered. So at this point, the Macedonians have to take on the combined Roman and Pontic forces alone, and again, royal pikemen against a combined urban cart and bronze shields. The royal pikemen will lose in a prolonged melee, so the Macedonian player in this case has to use his cav really effectively in order to win. But personally, I don't think he could win this infantry fight, even if he used his cavalry. And you may notice the fact that the Macedonian player is sending up his companion cav to do as much damage as he can, which is good for him. There's really nothing else he can do other than just attack isolated units with this cav, like these light cav. As I said before, whenever you're using light cav, never send them in against units that are easily supported by heavy cav or infantry. Only send them in at isolated bodies or on the flank of your enemy. And that's the Pontic general that died, and that's the Roman general that died. So even though two of their generals died at the very same time, that's a very good job from the Macedonian player. Very lucky kills. Sadly, his Macedonians are going to be the ones to rout. Except this Pontic bronze shield, which being charged by a companion cav, basically routs. Another one routs as well, as you can see there. But at this point, there's nothing really much for the Macedonian player to do. He's basically outnumbered. He's being cut to pieces by bronze shields. He's being slashed by side chariots. You see there, his generals is dead, his archers are being destroyed, he's being shot in the back. So the Macedonian player cannot win this. He does manage to survive until like the very end of this, because the Macedonian player does have a few archers left. So at this point in the battle, on the left side our opponents has won, however on the right side we have won. However, I think we're at I personally think that we have more of an advantage, because in the end the Roman player and the Greek player, our combined forces, we still have a lot of troops left, because we didn't lose a lot of guys against those Armenians, except for the Greek cav. We lost a lot of Greek cav, but they're pretty minuscule loss. The Pontic player and the Roman player lost a lot of cav, and they lost a lot of archers and infantry as well. So you can see our full force. We basically have all of our units left. I have all my archers left. None of them are basically damaged. Maybe one or two died by a few cataphract strikes, but nothing really special. Nothing really bad happened to my army. Same thing with the Greek player. And you can see here that the Brittanian player, the 2 heavy chariots were sent to me at the very beginning of the battle, are still alive, which is one of the good things, I guess. So at this point, the Greek player and I decide to rush up the rest of our men in order to protect the remaining units of Brittania and Macedonia. That is, the archers and the slingers. All the other units basically have been destroyed. Too bad. We might as well save as many troops as we can. And you can see there in the back that one of the Roman cav is chasing one of the Macedonian archers in a quite comical fashion. See these 4 men just trying to go kill these Macedonian archers. However, we do manage to send up our cav and chariots up quickly and dispatch with those 4 men quite quickly as well. I think we lost one guy there, but it's alright. The Macedonian player was able to survive with this like 3 units of archers. So at this point, our opponents have formed an army parallel to ours. What they do is separate the troops into 3 different contingents. What they should have done is combine the infantry into one main body in order to effectively fight back our own superior infantry. You can see here that the Seleucid player did not lose many troops. He lost like one archer unit by my archer auxilia, but that's not too big of a deal. The Roman player and the Pontic player you see there is not doing as well. Basically, their armies are very weak in comparison to our own. As I said before, they just don't have enough troops left in that main battle. It was the battle against the Britannians and the Macedonians were just way too costly. So you may notice that in the middle that I place my urban cards in front of the Greek infantry. That's to protect those urban cards against the side chariots if they come into attack. Combining your troops like that is a very good way in order to win in team battles. I've also positioned my archers in the right flank. The Macedonian and Britannian slingers are positioned in the middle, and the Greek archers are positioned on the very left. So you see Pontic is facing me, and obviously I have superior archers on this flank. All my archers are basically fine, and I also have slinger support against those Roman archers. So in the middle we're kind of equal. On the right I'm winning. However, on the Seleucid right, they're totally devastating these Greek archers. They got this one unit, like 3 archers against like 2 or 3 archers against this one Greek archer, so that's not good for the Greek player. He's losing a lot of archers in this battle. However, he does leave some Cretan archers in reserve that he'll use for later against the side chariots, which is good. It's nice to reserve your long-range archers for later, especially if your opponent has side chariots. That's because long-range archers use up a lot of ammo very quickly, so it's best to save them once you notice that they're running out. So this skirmish basically will determine whether or not we can flame the side chariots later, because you may notice that the Seleucid player still has 5 units of side chariots. We obviously need the archer superiority in order to beat them. And so the Seleucid player makes a little bit of a threatening move along with the Roman player on our left flank. However, this Roman player this move by the Roman player is not well organized with his team. So a few onward hoplites pointing the right way and a few head hurler shots basically devastate this whole entire Roman force. I'm guessing because that the urban cohorts were extremely weakened and that they had no forces supporting them, that they routed so quickly on contact. I believe all the urban cohorts there were like half strength, so that might cause them to rout so quickly. And the Pontic player at this point sends his side chariots quite futilely against my Roman cavalry. He does get close, but not close enough. Whenever you're using the side chariots, you should never ever send them close to enemy archers, unless you really have to, unless you're going in a little rush, then you should do that. And so basically all the Pontic infantry that you saw beforehand got totally devastated by all of our missiles, especially the head hurler missiles, because head hurlers are very strong against stationary cav or infantry, because the missile attack is very high and the missile attack is armor piercing. However, they don't do very well against other missile units like archers because they have very low defense. At this point, I send my Roman cav on the left side in an outflanking maneuver, while the Greek player sends his infantry from the front, fixing the silver shield pikemen in place. On their own, the Greek infantry will probably still win against these silver shield pikemen, and I'm sending up my urbans in behind because, heck, I might as well send my guys up. And I send my Roman cav in behind. However, this cataphract unit gets in my way from hammer and anviling, and my Roman cav get caught by a lot of side chariots you saw there, but it's alright in the end because the Brittanian player sends in his chariot to hammer and anvil, and we basically squish all these silver shield pikemen in place. And that is the Macedonian player that's routing. Apparently all his archers went bye-bye. I feel bad for him. If only he survived to the end, then our victory would have been very awesome. And here's a shot at the remaining cataphract troops. Quite fitting for a Seleucid general, just running away. Kind of ironic that he's in a cataphract unit, but oh well. That's basically the victory for us. What we saw there was a rush by both sides, from the right and the left. The left-on rush was very successful against the Armenians, but the rush on the right side by the Macedonians, not so successful. So in the end, we managed to be able to destroy our opponents because we had more men left in the end. Even though they destroyed half of our whole entire army, our combined force, they lost too much men, and we lost very little men. Also, in the final confrontation between our forces, we managed to combine our forces into a complete, strong, unified army, while they separated the army into different contingents. They would have done better to, as I said before, combine the infantry, and they should have placed the Seleucid player should have placed his cataphracts in a much more strategic manner. He should not have sent them far out, or that would have given us time to destroy his infantry. He should have kept them close by his infantry, but out of range of our own archers. So I hope you enjoyed this 4 vs 4. I sure did. This is 4 vs 4, a very complex in my opinion. They're really chaotic, but they're very fun as well, especially when you get a team that's very well coordinated. It's very fun, very strategically in depth. Also, you'd be surprised with Rome Total War. I hope you enjoyed watching this 4 vs 4. I hope you subscribe to my YouTube page. Hope you comment. Hope you rate, and GG to everyone who played this, and thanks for watching.